understand what the point of all of that sacrifice was. And I said, so you need to understand that there are more lives on the line than what you are claiming. And that every single person in the city of Phoenix, every single person here, every single person in our state, in our nation, in our world is essential. And so at the conclusion of this, we have volunteers that will help lead us down to the city of Phoenix on Washington Street. We will only go on sidewalks. It's interesting because although the city was happy to shut down the downtown area for Black Lives Matter for 90 days while they rioted and destroyed our buildings, they will not stand and block a road for an hour for our workers, for our heroes.
Thanks, Mayor.
I don't think you're doing loud enough. So our first speaker for our rally is going to be Austin Smith. He's a dear friend of mine, and he is responsible for setting all of this up today. When the employees called me and we organized 5.5% of employees in 72 hours, we now have over 7% of City of Phoenix employees. I called him and I said, I think we're going to need some help. We're going to have to do something big and we're going to need some help. And before I bring him up, I just want to put the unions on notice. If you will not serve your members, you are not there to be political. You are there to protect the rights of your members. And there's only 1.5 set of unions that stood by their employees through this. That was our police unions, and I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for keeping their word. When they gave me they gave me the honor of being endorsed by the Arizona Police Association, they gave me their word that they would stand behind our freedom and our liberty under all costs, and they have honored that promise. And our fire union, they begrudgingly were pushed into a press conference with our Attorney General, but I'm glad that they finally figured out that they had to do something, but it's not good enough. And the rest of the unions, where are they? If they're not standing up for their workers, they're stealing from their members. And just like we have organized this movement, and we've organized in different political parties, I have no problem organizing within the unions and making sure that they have representatives that represent their members. So with that, I want to bring up my friend, well, first of all, I didn't know Kelly was still here. Okay.
Sorry, you guys are going to want to meet Teresa Martinez. She is our newly appointed representative over in the House of Representatives. She also works part-time for Paul Gosar as a Hispanic Outreach. Welcome to Teresa to the House of Representatives.
Thank you so much for coming down and showing your support. With that, I want to thank my dear friend Austin Smith and also Turning Point Action for putting all of this together, because we are also working hard at the Scottsdale recall to be able to tell the school boards, and you heard, the school boards are the reason why we're here today. Ultimately, they are the reason, and they need to be disrupted. And so we are recalling a very evil man who is the ex-president of the Scottsdale School Board, School Board, and he did a dossier on parents, on 42 parents, just because they wanted to be involved in their kids' schools. That is the level of evil we're dealing with. So if you're watching this, please go to parentspushback.com and learn more about that. Because Austin Smith and Turning Point Action has stood in the gap for us, and I want to thank them so much. So Austin, where are you at? Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Marissa. Hey, Arizona. My name is Austin Smith. I'm the Enterprise Director of Turning Point Action. Turning Point is based here in Arizona. Did you know that? I'm a fifth-generation Arizonan. I've always grown up in rural Arizona. I'm not from Phoenix. But as a fifth-generation Arizona, what happens in Phoenix could happen in Tucson, could happen in Scottsdale, could happen in Paradise Valley, could happen in Wickenburg, could happen in Yuma. If I don't stand up and help you guys here, nobody's going to want to do it for me in Wickenburg. Arizonans stick together. Kate Gallego is a tyrant. We're going to call her exactly what she is. No jobs for jobs, no jobs for politicians. Pack your bags, Kate. Everybody here can do something about this. Whether it's not recalling somebody, a nonpartisan thing that you can do is register to vote. Update your voter registration. Register your neighbors to vote. Everybody that's in your neighborhood, you have the opportunity. I'm challenging you with you something today. Politicians aren't always going to be there to do a recall for us, to help initiate something on the ballot. We have to do it ourselves. So each person here today, I want you to go to the Secretary of State's office and get 10 voter registration forms. Take 10 voter registration forms and register people to vote in your neighborhood, or 10 people that you don't know. That's how we save this country. That's how when the next quarter comes out, a voter registration is going to send a shiver down Doug Ducey's spine, and they will have no choice but to call a special session. So thank you guys. God bless you. Let's save this country and let's save Arizona.
Our next speaker is my former boss, so you can blame him for all of this ultimately, because he's the one that taught me to do things against when government takes people's rights away. I'd like to call up my dear friend and my former boss and the former City Council Chief of Staff for Councilman Sal DeCiccio, Sam Stone.
It created a monster. You know, I agree with everything that's been said here, and I don't think I need to go over it again on the vaccine mandate. There is no question it is wrong. But this is more than that. Look at what's going on around the world right now. It's tyranny. It's tyranny here, it's tyranny across the globe. There's no stopping an airborne virus. We knew that before COVID came out. But look at what government's doing. Look at what they were doing to all of you, to all the workers at the city of Phoenix and across this country, to the people around the globe. Look at what is going on. Technocrats are taking power through fear. Now, I don't know how many of you, I'm a history buff, how many of you are history buffs? Raise your hand. Yeah, it's a lot, right? I tend to find that in Republican conservative gatherings. But you know what? I've studied a lot of history and I know one thing. The people that use fear to gain power are never the good guys. The people who would divide people, who would force medical treatments on people, who would jail people who refuse, are never the good guys. The ones that tear countries apart are never the good guys. And the bad people are in power now and they must be stopped. We have had enough. This is no longer about a vaccine or a vaccine mandate. This is about the future of the world that you want your children and your grandchildren to inherit. At the end of the day, you have a choice. You make it now, you stand and you fight and you do not comply. Because if you don't, the tide of darkness will roll over this planet. It is happening across the globe. They are looking to us right now, right here. The eyes of the world are on all of us. They are standing, and America must stand as the beacon on the hill. We must be the light in the darkness, or the darkness will overcome all. You're here to fight. I'm here to fight. It's time to take the fight to them. And I want to show you something, folks. I had to get vaccinated to go visit some folks in a hospital in New York. That was my choice. I chose to do that. It's my vaccine card. Is that my vaccine card?
It is.
Does
Samuel
it?
Stone.
Samuel Stone. Does it show that I'm vaccinated?
5/25/21, you are vaccinated.
Never again.
He's amazing. I want to bring up a good friend of mine who is a mother and a citizen of Phoenix, and she cares about our public safety, and she's going to speak a little bit about what it means to have to fear for her family and what it means to have to see what's happening to our city and our state and our country. I now call up my friend Keri Lake.
Wow, this crowd. Thank you. Thank you. I am blown away by all of this today. I see this crowd that assembled, and I'm inspired and I'm moved. We are so powerful we don't even know it. We are so powerful. And Sam, what you just did, I got tears in my eyes. That was huge. This is somebody who chose to get vaccinated, but he stands with those who choose not to because it's about freedom. And I do believe that it will come to the point where we will be joining together. It won't be about vaccines because that's not what this is about. Maybe you said, okay, I'll get the I'll get the vaccine, and I'll get the second one, and then I'll get the booster, and then there's the third booster, and the fourth, and the fifth. I think eventually everyone's going to say enough is enough. And I'm already there. But my question is, have you ever heard of Where's Waldo? I mean, maybe I'm dating myself right now. Who remembers Where's Waldo? I want to know where's Doug? Where's Doug? If he's not up in his office getting ready to call a special session, then it's a waste of time even having him in that office. Doug Ducey, I've actually started calling him Dud Ducey. Because this is a time when the people of Arizona need their governor, and he's not here for us. He could end this today. I'm not a big fan of executive orders, but on occasion, you've got to have one. He could go up there and sign one right now, end this tyranny, call in our lawmakers. How many lawmakers are here who would be willing to go in for a special session right now? Any of you? They are ready to go in for a special session. He needs to call a special session, end this madness right now. So, I don't know about you, I'm so thrilled and I'm so honored whenever I'm around our first responders, whether it be our firefighters, paramedics, or our police officers, because I know how brave they are and how hard they work. And when I call 911, and God, I hope I never have to, but when I do, I want to know that they're going to be there quickly. The last thing I'm going to ask when my house is on fire or we're having a medical emergency is, can I see your Vax card, Mr. Paramedic? We need people in these positions. We can't afford to lose one first responder. We're understaffed as it is, and we need to have their backs. So I'm urging everyone to put pressure on the city, to put pressure on your lawmakers. Even if you're in a Republican district and you know somebody who's a Democrat lawmaker, call them. We need to put pressure day and night on these people to do the right thing, because this is tyranny that we're living under, and I don't want to live under tyranny. I don't know about you guys, but I don't. I just want to mention one more thing. Just over here is the USS Arizona. It's the 80th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. And I think about our brave fathers and grandfathers, maybe great-grandfathers, who fought in World War II, the greatest generation. Unfortunately, we're losing too many of them. But we are made from the same DNA as those brave Americans, and our forefathers, and our founding fathers. We are Arizonans. We're the toughest of the Americans. So I know we're going to get through this. We're going to pull together and get through this. It's going to take some tough choices. and more standing up like we're doing today, and coming together and bringing people together. We're going to do this. We're going to get through this tough time, but we need to demand of our lawmakers and demand of our politicians that they stand up at this pivotal moment in history and do the right thing. Thank you for being here, and thank you for fighting for our rights.
So I see now, I want to give a quick shout out and thank Christian Lamar. Please raise your hand. He's the one that started all of this because he's the first one that gave me the call and said, hey, I'm in this group with firefighters and they need help. So louder, he did all this. We have just two more speakers left before we march, and so I want to call up my friend Abe Hamida. I said I would say it right, but I think I still messed it up. He is a former Maricopa County prosecutor, and he has given us some great insights on how our government could be standing up and defending us where they haven't. So I wanted us to hear his voice for a moment. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So Marissa's right, I'm a former prosecutor right here in the county, and I just got back from an army deployment to Saudi Arabia. And let me tell you, I no longer recognize the country I returned to. And right now I just got off the phone with Garrett Lewis down on the radio show down in Tucson. What they're doing in Pima County right now, it's not just Phoenix, like the other speakers told you, it's going on across the entire state. What they're doing in Pima County, they're threatening to release inmates because detention officers are not getting vaccinated. Now think about that. They're threatening the safety of our communities because of the vaccine. That's the logic of our so-called leaders. And quite frankly, the last 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, our founding fathers would be ashamed of what we've had to put up with in the last 2 years. This is not the hallmark of a free society or a free people. This is a determination whether we have agency over our own bodies or whether the government owns our bodies. And let me just end this. Although, it's really tough times, but being out here has totally inspired me. Like Marissa was saying, I was out here with the Tea Party movement back in 2009, back in 2010. And this is bigger. This is a bigger deal right now. The rate of speed that the government's trying to take over our lives is astronomical. So right now, our founding fathers would be proud of all of you for being here. Thank you very much.
All right, I have a quick announcement before we have our last speaker. There are some posters that are around the monuments, and can we please pick them up off the monuments? You can hold them, but those monuments are very special, and we want to make sure that we respect the service of those that are fallen, and many of those posters represent that. So with that, one of my favorite organizations in the whole wide world is Freedom Works. And if you don't know about them, please get to know them. The organizations we have here are really the top two that stand for freedom in our nation. And so my good friend, Reverend C.L. Bryant, I called Freedom Works last week and I said, we need CL here. And they said, you got it, Marissa. And CL comes and said, what am I here for? He serves us so much because he knows that Arizona needs him and he's getting on the next plane coming over here. So with that, my dear friend, Reverend C.L. Bryant.
My fellow Americans, it's good to be here with you in the land of the free and the home of the brave. How many of you know that America is the greatest nation on the face of the planet, the greatest success story the world has ever known? I'm C.L. Bryant, Senior Fellow, Freedom Works, Washington, D.C. We're the largest grassroots organization in the nation. We boast 6 million activists on the ground, just like you. And I encourage each and every one of you to go to freedomworks.org, become a part of us, become a part of that movement. Join me on Sunday mornings, 11 o'clock on Newsmax. I host and anchor the show Save the Nation. Marissa is one of our ambassadors, and we certainly am proud of the work that she's doing here with all of these congressmen. Now, my friends, we have some difficult days ahead of us, And in just a few moments, we're going to march. And let me say this to you. All of you are familiar with the words in our Declaration of Independence that outline for us that we are all created equal by our Creator. With life, liberty, pursuit of our happiness. But many times we don't understand, or we haven't seen the words that come after that. Because Jefferson, when he penned those words, he had us, the governed, in mind. And those words say that these who inhabit these offices, these who you have elected to public office, they cannot, they should not, and we're sending this message to them today, that they will not govern without the consent of those who have sent them to office, not without the consent of the government. My friends, tonight, this day, you need to understand that there is a difference between unity and conformity. We all agree, we all can be unified with the idea that our children need a different and a better education. We understand that. We can all agree that we want our children to be educated, but we will not conform to the idea that we will co-parent our children with government entities. We will stand up and push back against that all the way. Americans, 80 years ago, and it's so appropriate, Marissa, that this rally is on this day. Because 80 years ago, USS Arizona, the USS Arizona was taken down by enemy forces. It is a day that does live in the infamy, in the minds of us. My father, a young man at that time, heard the call to duty, went off to World War II, along with many other Americans who now we call the greatest generation. My fellow Americans, let me say this to you in no uncertain terms. Being the son of a World War II veteran, the grandson of a World War I veteran, the great-grandson of a Spanish-American War veteran, let me say this to you. We will not give up this country that they have fought for, bled for, not without a fight. We must preserve the Republic. We must preserve the Republic. There's a difference. There's a difference in unity and conformity. And I've heard all these speakers say, right here from the great state of Arizona, that you Arizonans will not comply. And we need to send this message to them that if they can't do the work of the people, then they need to pack their bags and get out of our state offices, get out of our national offices. We will not comply. Something else. I saw inside this building little kids, children, parents, grandparents, nieces, uncles, nephews. You teach them, you teach your children not to comply. Because Americans, and I speak to crowds all over the country. In fact, I'm flying from here in a few hours headed back to Washington, D.C. for a while. I live in Florida. But Americans, let me tell you something. All over this country, I'm seeing faces just like yours who are running away from the truth of who we are. This nation was founded by men who pledged to themselves their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor. I heard someone say that the DNA of those men are in us. Even now, together, Americans, if we are to save the Republic, if this is to be a nation where our children have a chance to be all that they can be, regardless of where their fathers came from, regardless of their station in life, this is the place where we today, we must pledge together our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor in defense of that flag that has been fought for and bled for and died for. We pledge our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor. And so, my fellow Americans, it is time now not only to stand up, but it's time for you to push back. You are being shoved around, and they're wanting to lead you around like your sheep. But Americans, we will not bow down to any earthly king. We only bend our knee to Almighty God above. Americans, we will not bow. So, it is time to push back. Before you can push back, there's a question that I ask across this country. For the last 13 years, I've been asking crowds, large and small, just like this one. And the question is, Marissa, are there any patriots left in America? Is there anybody here who will stand up for God and country? Is there anybody here who will stand up for America? Good Americans, stand up! Stand up! Stand up! God bless you. God bless America.
How amazing is that? What would be more amazing if instead of the City of Phoenix putting out a press release saying that their mandate is paused, that they said it's ended. And I want to be clear, the United Auto Workers Union, one of the largest unions in the nation, negotiated with the top 3 automakers that they would have the vaccines be voluntary, they would have disclosure if they've taken a vaccine to be voluntary, and then also all exemptions are voluntary or not, and accommodations are voluntary. And they would still be in compliance with Biden's federal mandate. So here's my question. Why is anyone asking for forms? Why is anyone telling you that you need to disclose your personal medical history? The City of Phoenix put in a form where they want an employee, in order to even be considered for an accommodation, that they have to give the city access to their medical records for 180 days. Now, I put out a call to action to many of you asking, if you've received a mandate from your employer, can you please send me the forms that they're asking you to fill out? None of them asked for their employees to turn over their medical history for 180 days. And so what I said to the City of Phoenix, I said, do you have any idea the optics that you have created? You can't say on one hand that you respect your employees, you care about your employees, you want them to be looked after, and then on the other hand, demand that they turn over full access to their medical records for 180 days. That is abhorrent and ludicrous. So the announcements that have been made today, they're there because we know their strategies. They're trying to dissuade you. They're trying to lower your voice. They're trying to make you to sit down so that then they can come back with a huge punch once they've organized the political class a little bit better against our rights. And so I ask you to stand with us. We're going to get ready to march. I hope you have your bottled water and your sunscreen. The City of Phoenix will not shut down the roads for us, even though I asked them very, very nicely. So just remember, when